Welcome back to Diecast Graveyard. My name is Paul. Thanks for joining me here today. Today we're going to be restoring a Hot Wheels original Sweet 16 custom Cougar. Now this car is being restored for Mr. William Robinson, Mr. K7 himself. For those of you who don't know Mr. William Robinson, he's a very generous man who hooks up with all these die-cast restorers and builders and customizers, and he just randomly sends you boxes of cars in the mail and definitely takes care of you, and he really appreciates your artwork and the things that you do to make customs and make them look great. Well, this car is for him, folks, so let's get the car apart, do an evaluation on it, and see what we got here. Let's go ahead and get started. I've already drilled out the posts on the car. Now if you want to learn how to take apart a car or a die-cast car like this, I do have a video. Just check out other videos that I have done, and it will show you exactly how to drill out these posts, how to take a car apart, and how to evaluate your car. This car here has a lot of flea bites on it. There's a lot of paint missing, there's some toning in there, there's some scratches on there, but overall the body's not in too bad a shape, so we definitely got some good bones here to work with. The interior looks really good. The blue interior kind of limits to the colors that you can paint this thing. Now this car is dark blue. We're going to go ahead and use a Windex blue. The windshield's in fairly good shape. Got some scratches and stuff to it, but we can definitely work with it. The base isn't too bad. There's definitely some tarnishing there. We'll have to clean that up and definitely replace the tires. So that's what we're looking for here in the very near future. Let's move on. Here we've got the car. We've put it in the citrus strip, and we're going to coat it up really good. Now with this car here, again, we're going to be doing a little bit of a color change, so I try to get the inside and the outside of a car. If you're doing a color change, it doesn't make any sense to have a blue car on the outside and a red car on the inside, so make sure that you get the inside and outside of the car. Now the K7 transporter in the back, that's also for Mr. William Robinson. I had stripped it before, but there was a lot of stuff that didn't come off, so I put it in the stripper again, and after this was done, it all definitely came off with no issues. Now the windshield. We've cleaned that up, and we're going to dip it in gauzy. Now you can use the gauzy or you can use the Pledge Revive. I can't get the Pledge Revive here where I live for some reason, or I just haven't come across it, but I definitely like the gauzy here. It's made for plastic model windshields to coat them and take out the scratches. Once you dip it in the gauzy, make sure that you wick off the excess, because you definitely don't want that building up on your plastic windshield. And once you get all the excess off there, then go ahead and put it in some kind of a container so it keeps all the dust bunnies off there. Let's move on.
Meanwhile, back in the graveyard.
We've got the car out of the paint stripper. Now we're going to polish it up. Notice how the hood keeps kind of flipping up on the car as I'm polishing. It's because it fits on there fairly loose. I mean, it's not broken or anything, but this is definitely something that you'll have to be aware of. Now when you start to polish the hood, you're going to have to hold it down with your finger, because that buffer will definitely grab a hold of it and open it up on you. And if you're not careful, it will flip that thing off and snap that hood off like nobody's business. So please be careful when you're doing this. Also, hit that subscribe button and click on that little bell to be alerted to any future videos that come out. See there? Be careful, folks, because you'll break that thing off, and these things are not fun to try and fix and replace. After I did a little bit of sanding and polishing with the Scotch-Brite pad and the steel wool, and then buffed it up to a nice shine here, the body turned out very, very nice. I was really pleased with the results of this. This is starting to look really good. That's going to make that blue paint pop for sure. We got the car out of the paint stripper and we scrubbed it down with degreaser. Guys, this is a very important step when you're prepping the car for paint. Make sure you get a really good degreaser on there to take away any excess chemicals you may have on there. And once you get it all cleaned up and degreased, keep your big fingers off the darn thing because the oils from your fingers will definitely affect the paint. Once you start painting, put on some light mist coats, and this will develop a tack coat. Once you do the mist coats, let it sit for about 5 minutes and let that start to get sticky and harden up a little bit. This will give any future paint that you put on there something to hold on to. Make sure you get the insides of the car first, or all those hard to reach areas like inside fender wells and like that, and then come on the outside and do your nice mist coats. Once you put down about 3 or 4 mist coats and you let it set, then you're going to move on and put a little bit heavier coats on there or some saturation coats. Now as you're putting on these saturation coats, please don't put it on too heavy. You want it to look wet, but you don't want it to be wet, if that makes sense, because if it starts to run and drip, there's no way to get it off except to sand it down, which may ruin or affect your paint job, or put it in the stripper and start it all over again. You can always add paint, but you can't take the paint away unless you strip it down completely, all right? So, make sure you're constantly rotating the car as you paint it. You don't want it to sit in one area too long because, again, it will build up paint. Now, I use anywhere from 20 to 30 pounds of pressure. 20 pounds is about optimum if your paint has been thinned properly. If you start to get into the higher numbers, the 25, the 30, and you really don't need to go higher than that, it puts out more paint. The higher the pressure, the more paint will come out of your gun, which means it's going to saturate your car that much faster. All right? So, keep your pressure at a minimum. Take your time painting. If you got it too high, it's going to ruin your paint job. Trust me on this. This is really starting to look good. Keep moving the car, and once you get to the color that you want, stop, because if you keep putting more and more paint on there, it's going to get darker and darker, and you definitely don't want that. Well, maybe you do want that, but to get to the color you want, just be aware that if the more you put on, it's going to get darker. I love that Pache Talon airbrush. Those things are sweet.
Waiting for the paint to dry.
We got all the paint. It's in the cabinet drying. Now we're going to address the base. When you take your tires off, put one thumb on top, one thumb on the bottom, put equal pressure and pop it off. If your axle feels like it's stretching or the bearing feels like it's coming off, then stop. Cut off that wheel. These bearings and axles and everything are so hard to get unless you've got a donor car or something. Now notice how that's popping out right there. All right, see how it's stretched out? It is coming out of the track, but I don't want to take the chance of that bearing popping off. So what I'm going to do is I'd like to try and cut this tire off, but I think that because it's coming out of the track is why it's stretching that far. I may try this again. I did try it again, and the wheel came off fine, but you got to be aware of that. Now, the car is all painted really nice. The interior is nice and clean. The windshield with the gauzy looks excellent. The base here looks fantastic, all cleaned up with brand new shoes on. I detailed the front headlight area. I detailed the back taillight area. I fixed the axle there in the front, so that looks good. So we're ready to go there. And the body, the paint job on the body, folks, turned out fantastic. The Spectre Flame paint that I got from the Redline shop, just if you mix it properly, guys, it will do its job. www.redlineshop.com. Love their products. And this is what we started with. An original Sweet 16 Hot Wheels custom Cougar. Definitely well played with, but in my opinion, well worth saving. The car is so nice. My very first car was a 1970 Mercury Cougar. And man, that thing had some cancer to it. I mean, there was all kinds of rust spots on it. You could lift up the floor mat in the back and you could see the road. Put your feet through there like Fred Flintstone and push the car, all right? Eventually got it fixed, and by the time I got it fixed and it was ready to go on the road, I joined the Army. So I never got it on the road. I wound up selling it to my neighbor. But I did get myself a Camaro while I was in the service, so that worked out really good. But I love Mercury Cougars, and I love this color blue, the Windex blue. Turned out fantastic. I was really pleased with the way this turned out. And this is what we got to. A beautiful, perfectly restored custom Cougar. The Windex blue is fantastic. Now the windshield here, it turned out good. It could definitely be replaced to complete a perfect restoration. But man, with those new tires and the Windex blue paint, this thing turned out absolutely beautiful. I'm so happy with this. And I know that Mr. William Robinson is going to be very happy with this also. This is definitely going to be a proud addition to his collection. Now guys, you can do this also, and I keep saying this in my videos. The only way you're going to learn how to do this is to start. I've got plenty of videos out there. How to take a car apart, how to prepare it for paint, how to paint it. All kinds of how-to videos, plus the videos that I've done with all the cars that I've done. You can do this. Give it a try. That's what these videos are for, guys. Now to top it all off here, I've made a custom card. Diecast Graveyard, a Diecast Graveyard restoration. This is beautiful. It's come in its own blister, and it's got its own card here, and I love doing these restorations. Thanks for joining me here today on Diecast Graveyard. I enjoy making these videos for you. We just hit 1,000 subscribers, and we got a big giveaway video coming up here really quick. Again, thanks for joining me, and have a great day.